Welcome to DaVinci 1618. My name is Simon Shim. I'm a host of Mind New York. This is episode 2. We are inviting Russell Kim. He is Senior Design Director of Fraser's Property Holdings. As a design leader in developer company and construction and architectural companies, he gained a wide spectrum of design and management skills from large development projects worldwide. We are so thankful to be able to hear his insight and experience. It will be beneficial to young students who are pursuing a career as an architect.
My name is Russell Kim. 한국명으로는 김재훈이고요. I've been in the business, the design profession for about 23 years now. And if you know the design area, I think you know there's a three pillar, right? There's a design, there's a construction, and there's a development, right? So a lot of the people they go through one side of the pillar or one or two, but I decided along the way to find a way to experience all three, right? So I started with the design, so then moved on to construction, and I'm at the developer company now, working on One Bangkok in Thailand. So the way I started out, let's see, I was born in Korea. I moved to the States, similar to many of the immigrated families. I grew up in the States from when I was 8 years old, all the way to beyond college and into my profession. So I stayed and grew up in Seattle, Washington. I spent my undergraduate there. So after I graduated, I wanted to venture out. So I left home and went over to the other coastline, East Coast. And after graduating from a master's, I went, at that time, it was 98. At the time, the market was so good for the architects, right? So it was really great in a way that if I send out 15 resumes, I get 15 interviews and 15 offers. Oh. Right, it was one of the best times.
Yeah, great time.
Wow. And so I chose at the time to go to the largest firm that I could foresee. So I went to SOM. So from there, I stayed about when you first start projects and first start the work, that work becomes your expertise in a way, right? Because they recycle you, they train you up. So I started out doing a project in New York, Time Warner Center, mixed use development, right?
Yes.
And at that time, it was one of the tallest, right?
Yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah.
And so from that moment on, I've done projects where it's getting the title to be tallest or large. And so that's where it led me to One Bangkok. So all my training in the past, working on mixed use or other, large scale complex projects, led to the next project, when I was joined at a construction company, also developer company. So from SOM, after going through many projects of tall and mixed use projects, I moved to Samsung Construction. And I wanted to see how you go from the drawings, in paper and computer to actually physically build spaces. And so it was a really eye-opening experience. And it was probably the hardest experience I've gone through, being at site, right? So when I was working for Samsung Construction, I've moved around in many departments. I ended up working for, I'm sure Ahmed Abdarazak. He was the Chicago structure engineer for SOM.
Yeah.
Moved to construction company to start building. Similar case where I've come to.
Yeah.
And so I was working with him, and I had two roles under him. One was to go through the tender documents and prepare, review and prepare the bids from the design side. And after it gets awarded to us, I would head the design team to go onto the site. And depending on the project scale, I would spend about 4 to 12 months to set up the local team. So I would hire the local, go through the interviews and hire the local architects or designers that would work under the construction company and construction team, but also then start setting up the client meetings, weekly, monthly meetings, the reports that would go through, and start managing and working with the consultants in those projects. And after it goes through, a few rounds, it takes like 3-4 months and becomes very routine. Then I would hand it over to the local team and then come back to the headquarter office and then work on the next project, right? So I've done that for about 7 years with Samsung. And afterwards, I moved on to the third pillar, which is the development company. So I've been in Bangkok, Thailand with my family from day one. I've been here about 5 years now. And I started One Bangkok after getting the master plan fixed by SOM. I inherited master plan and started working on the concept, design development, tender documentation. Now we're in construction. So that's my journey, long and short.
Wow, this is almost 22 years journey.
Yeah.
You make it just in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay,
Yeah,
that's very precise.
Yeah.
But I think you touched most of story. Wow, it's amazing. You just started as an architect, design architect. I didn't know that you worked on the Time Warner Center, which is one of successful mixed use project, southwest corner of Central Park.
Right. And at that time, it was significant because in New York, as you know, nobody shops vertically. Everybody shops on the street level, right?
Yeah.
You get the Fifth Avenue, you get the Sohos, and everywhere.
Yes.
So the related company, the developer, took a chance and started to build something vertical as a mall.
Yeah.
And that became a very successful.
So I think the Time Warner Center has a few retail up to maybe 4 or 5 story, and then the floor above is a commercial, right? Office building.
Correct. There's an office building, there's a hotel and residential.
Yeah. I remember there were some also Samsung kind of showroom, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, fourth floor, third floor? Yeah, I realize it. Yeah. What actually influenced you think that you want to shift from design side to construction side?
There are 2 factors.
Yeah.
One is personal, the other is more professional.
Oh.
So personal, if you know the profession, I'm sure is everywhere in the design profession, right?
Yeah.
We or related to all the trades, especially SOM, you spend endless hours, right?
Yeah.
You slave over.
Yeah.
But you do it because you like it so much, right? I had no weekend. I would come home around 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I would just change it and then sleep for a couple of hours and then I'm back, right?
Yeah.
So that went on for many years. Even though my position went up,
yeah,
I probably spent more hours as my career went up.
You're getting more responsibility.
Yeah. And so my wife got fed up. And she was very upset. And she said, hey, we could be a farmer in the Midwest or anywhere. Let's just get out of town. So that was factor number 1.
Okay. Totally understand.
Second factor was I've always wanted to move and experience different areas within the industry. So however, when I was looking around for other jobs, I was looking into the architectural field as well as development and construction. So, but I also knew, my wife, her family is in Korea, so she's been away for many years. So I wanted to give that a chance. So I chose to focus on getting a job in Korea, right?
Oh,
So I sent an interview into like Samu and Hirim and all big companies, as well as the Samsung Construction. And at that time, if you remember, there's an Incheon 151 tower.
oh yeah.
It was headed by Portman.
Yeah, I worked on it. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so they were, for that tower, they were trying to open up a office in Korea from the development side, because they were a
Yeah.
co-developer for that project, right? So I was interviewing all the 3 different areas, and at that time, I think Samsung Construction, to me, seemed most logical choice.
Mm. Wow, so that's a big decision.
Mhm.
It's not only just personal. Okay, both are big decisions. Personal decisions, because living life in United States and also living life in Korea, that's also a big jump. And second is professionally, design side to construction side, because obviously you have to start build your relationship and obviously learn something, your new role, explore, right? So, wow, you actually successfully shift. I think this is kind of amazing story.
Yeah, I mean, I think I took enough times in each of the industry, each of the trades,
Right.
kind of understand the full cycle.
Yeah.
And so what I did back in the past in the architectural or construction actually is helping a lot right now when I'm helping to manage One Bangkok. So everything that I've done in the past, there's nothing to waste.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Your career path is really ideal. Because as a designer, starting with the architect professional, and then understanding how things really come together, right? As you work in the construction company now, I think also you build and gain a lot of experience. Management skill is really important. That I don't know how many just trade you have to interview and hire them. I can imagine that. It's a lot of work, a lot of pressure. You have to take care of. But meanwhile, I think that's give you some big fuel and the strengths you gain, so that you can move more freely or comfortably move to developer side. Wow.